Is this Mr. Gardenhire? Is there anything you'd like to say to the court?
I give my condolences to the family. Everything that had happened was wrong, and I regret it. I wish I could turn back the hands of time, but I can't. Adri was a good child. She was a good girl. She didn't deserve what happened to her. Neither did my other victims. They have every right to be mad, and I don't expect forgiveness. I wouldn't forgive myself. Just impose what you think is right. I accept all consequences of my actions. That's it.
Clawed my way through unimaginable pain, suffering, sorrow, and guilt since my daughter Adri's death. What makes this even more horrific is that Isaiah had a bond with all of my children. Making TikToks or having prank wars, every holiday, birthday, vacation, long summer days spent at Checkpoint, making memories in the sun was our favorite thing to do as a family. Isaiah killed all my daughters that night because they will never be the same. Emerson lost her other half, her voice, her big sister. Adrian and Emerson had their own little world, and to watch them in it was magic. Now Emmy has to make it through and navigate this world without Adri to guide, support, and love her like she so fiercely did. Janessa doesn't smile or play like she used to. It's extremely hard for her to comprehend at 5 years old that she will never see her Adri again. She cries for her every night, holding on to Adri's blanket as some sort of comfort, asking the questions we all want the answers to, begging and pleading to see her sister again. Didn't God know how much I would miss her, Mama?
This is the worst case that I've seen while I've been here in Isabella County. The loss of a young child and the terror inflicted on the other victims in this case is just horrible. As Adri's mom talked to me just moments ago, I could feel your pain. I wish there was something I could say to lessen it, but we all know that the pain is so deep that mere words aren't going to lessen it. Hopefully in time, the pain will be less intense. Hopefully in time, the healing process will happen. The defendant comes before the court with a bad juvenile record and also a long record of adult convictions. At the present time, the defendant has pending murder charges down in Ingham County. Just days before the murder and the unlawful imprisonment and the sexual assaults of the victims in this case, the defendant bonded out of jail in another county where he was facing charges for criminal sexual assault, I think CSC second, involving a minor. The conduct in this case, the only way you can actually characterize it, it was flat out evil. The defendant deserves no consideration from the court. He needs to spend the rest of his life behind bars. When we talked about the guidelines, one of the options is life in prison. That's not an appropriate sanction in this case because in Michigan, if you're convicted of second-degree murder, you're eligible for parole after a period of time, after 15 years. And if you're denied parole after a certain number of years, you can come back. And there's no point in putting the victims of this case through that worry of worrying whether or not the department is going to grant parole to the defendant. Now, for the charge of second-degree murder, habitual fourth, I'm going to set your minimum term at 75 years. Since this is a life offense, the 2/3 rule is, I don't believe it's applicable under case law, but I'm going to follow it anyways. So your maximum is going to be 120 years, credit for 154 days. For the charge of felonious assault, habitual fourth, minimum 10 years, maximum 15 years, credit for 154 days. That's the most I can give you for that particular offense. For the charge of unlawful imprisonment, habitual fourth, minimum sentence 75 years, maximum 120 years, credit for 154 days.